Fellow Toastmasters, our guest, responsibility. It's something that we are all aware of. Responsibility is imminent. You cannot avoid it. From the time you're very young, you're given responsibility. Take out the garbage, make your bed, put your clothes away. How about put your toys away? Then as you get older, the responsibility increases. You didn't park the car correctly, you're not going to use it anymore. How many times have I told you that you need to be home by midnight? Guess what? You're not going out for a month. So these are things that have an effect on us. Responsibility, it's important. It reminds me of different songs that I've heard. There's one called Solid Rock by a group called Dire Straits. And there's a line in that song that I always remember. When you point your finger because your plans fell through, there's 3 more fingers pointing back at you. So you are responsible, no one else. If it's to be, it's up to me. So that is good advice for myself and for all of us here. You can't shirk responsibility. You can't say, well, that's not my job, because it is. We're all responsible. We all have different levels of responsibility that we need to take care of in our life. And I think back to certain things in my personal life and in my business life that if I didn't take responsibility, it would not have gotten done. And then what would have happened? Who could I blame? No one. It would be me. Some of the responsibility that I did take on that I really enjoyed and that gave me a tremendous confidence level was when I had the opportunity, when I was working for a consumer electronics company, to produce sampler CDs. Remember those, when people had CDs? And it was an enormous job. I had no idea. I had produced, various music pieces for different bands and things like that, but I had never compiled an album with multiple artists from all different labels. Had to get licensing and clearances, and it all came about from my boss at the time saying, hey Donald, we need a sampler CD. Put one together. And so I had no idea how to go about that. But it was my responsibility to get it done. From the point of making contact with the different record companies, the different licensing organizations, getting the artwork done, getting the clearances, and putting it all together. And then I had to use our company's pressing plant to have the CDs made. It was a lot of responsibility. But once it was done, I actually had something tangible that I did. And that made me feel really good in that I had finally produced a CD and I had the title of executive producer, which was a mind-blowing thing for me. So taking on responsibility, although at times it can be overwhelming and you don't know how it's going to turn out, for the most part, when you take on responsibility and you know what you got to do, or you do not know what you have to do, it works out just fine for you. So I would suggest that if you are procrastinating and putting something off, or you don't want to do something, or let somebody else do it. Not a good way to do that. Just take it upon yourself, one step at a time. David brought up some very good points. Beth brought up some very good points. You just need to break it down into smaller parts, and you get it done. It's the same thing with responsibility. So anytime something is looming and it's imminent, do it. Take responsibility, because you don't want to be pointing the finger at anybody because it didn't get done, because they're all pointing back at you.